Hey everybody, this is Paintball Dad. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Today I want to talk about kind of a fun topic that's been on my mind for a little while, and that is the golden age of paintball. And more specifically, are we entering a second golden age of paintball? Now there's a lot to go over in this topic, so I'm going to try to talk as fast as I can and cover as much ground as possible. But the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that we're all on the same page in understanding what exactly I'm talking about when I say golden age, because whenever I talk about a golden age, I get a lot of people who say, oh, there's no such thing as a golden age, it's just something that everybody romanticizes in their own mind, basically saying that a golden age is just a matter of personal opinion. However, I think the problem is that people who say this are getting confused between a golden age versus glory days. Now, glory days are definitely a matter of opinion. Everybody has glory days, and basically it's like the time of your life that you were at your peak and everything is now looked at through rose-colored glasses. However, a golden age is something that you can actually measure and quantify, and there's even a definition for a golden age. It's a time when a specific art or activity is at its peak. And now paintball definitely had a golden age, and I think we're about to see a second golden age, but first let's go over when exactly the first golden age was and what exactly defined it. I think the first golden age was roughly between the years 2004 and 2009. And the reason I say that is because those are the years that paintball was in all facets of media. Everything that a person could possibly consume in media, you saw paintball. It was in magazines, it was on TV, it was in movies, it was in video games, it was on social media, it was everywhere. For a short while, it almost seemed like paintball was going to be the next big extreme sport, kind of like the next skateboarding. And so I think it all started at around 2004 when Greg Hastings' Tournament Paintball came out. It came out on the Xbox, and I think it might have also come out on another console as well, or maybe even PC, but I remember it being for Xbox because I had an Xbox at the time. But that game marked a significant milestone because it was the first paintball game to be produced on a major video game platform. The Xbox was only like 2 or 3 years old at that time, and it was making big waves throughout the gaming community. And then a year later, we saw paintball on ESPN. I think it was in 2007 that ESPN showed the NPPL Super 7 Championships. And of course, that gave paintball a huge sense of legitimacy because ESPN is a very big network. And then just a year or two after that, Fox Sports followed up with another TV show called Extreme Paintball Beyond the Paint. And that was supposed to be kind of like a reality-based series where they went behind the scenes and interviewed the players, got to know their personal lives a little bit, and of course showed some paintball. Now, while all this stuff was going on, there was also lots of stuff going on behind the scenes that was just as important. For example, I had mentioned that there was paintball magazines. I don't remember exactly when paintball magazines stopped being published, but I do remember that between these years of 2004 to 2009 or 2010-ish, I would see paintball magazines pretty much everywhere. They were actually becoming mainstream. I would see them in my local grocery. I would go to the grocery store, and in the magazine section, I would actually see paintball magazines, right next to like the rifle and hunting section of magazines. I would also go to big bookstores like Barnes & Noble and Borders, and I would see paintball magazines there. And during these years, you also saw a lot of big named outside industry companies that were sponsoring paintball. For example, some of the older Dynasty jerseys used to have Dell on them, like the computer company Dell. They used to sponsor Dynasty. Also Rockstar. For a while they had Rockstar energy drinks on their jerseys. And for a short time, Doritos was a sponsor of pro paintball. You would actually see the Dorito logo on some of the Dorito bunkers on the field. And my personal favorite was Ball's Soda, BAWLS. It was a super niche soda that I only ever saw at my local arcade. But then one day I saw their logo on a pro paintball field. And they were clever. They put their logo on a can so it looked like a can of balls. And now this isn't everything, but these are some of the big examples of what I think defines the first golden age of paintball. But now if you've only been playing paintball for like the last 7 or 8 years, you probably don't know that any of these things ever existed. You probably never saw paintball on actual network TV, or at your local bookstore, or in your local video game store. Now I don't know what caused all this stuff to just disappear all of a sudden, but I do think the good news is that we are headed towards a second golden age of paintball, and here's why. I think for me, one of the biggest things I've noticed is the rise in visual media where paintball is represented. It might be a while before we see paintball on TV again, although there are rumors going around that that is the goal that the current big wigs in paintball are working on. However, in the meantime, we have seen a huge rise in popularity on social media like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where paintball has just exploded. We're actually seeing paintball videos and paintball influencers reach viral popularity. I think one of the most impressive influencers that I've seen is Matt the Gym Rat. He's a local guy from the Carolina area, but he has more followers on social media than most of the official paintball companies company accounts and even pro paintball player accounts. Last time I checked, he had 200,000 followers on YouTube and like 1.3 million on TikTok. But I think what his growth really signifies is that there is a hunger out there for paintball in media if you can package it the right way, and I think he's found the right recipe for getting people's attention into paintball. Another big thing is that we're now seeing outside companies come back into paintball. This year was the first year in a long time that we've seen a bunker on the field of professional paintball games that actually has an outside company sponsor label on it, and that was Spot Insurance, which that in itself is another huge deal because this is the first time ever, I think, that paintball has actually had an official liability insurance to go along with it. So now anybody who registers with Major League Paintball, whether you're a tournament player or even just a casual player, is going to have that liability injury insurance, which again I think adds a sense of legitimacy to the sport, and I think it also will help to bring more players into the sport. Another major label that's been getting closely involved with paintball is Gel Blaster. Gel Blasters have become super popular amongst young kids, and it's become a great way to introduce young kids to paintball in a way that's safe and that doesn't hurt them at all. And another thing that I should have mentioned before in the first golden age of paintball was that those were the years when you saw a big expansion of the average age of the paintball players. You had teams like Dynasty and X Factor that basically broke into the pro leagues as teenagers. And now we're seeing another shift in player age with the introduction of the Young Guns League on the national level. I remember last year I took my kids with me to the NXL World Cup in Florida, and my oldest son was 8 years old at the time. He went to go play in the Gel Blaster arena. He actually ended up playing against some of the kids that were there to play with Destiny kids, and some of them looked like they were around his age, maybe like 8 or 9. So we're definitely seeing another shift in player demographics where now we're reaching all ages of paintball players. So I think the signs are pretty clear. We're about to see another big explosion in popularity for paintball. But as always, feel free to let me know what you think. And thanks for tuning in.